Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, I should say. Welcome to another edition of the Blog Talk Radio Show of Two Open Minds. It's been a hell of a week. We've had great guests on the show, and we have a lot to cover in this 2-hour period. We have Russell Papalardo today, my co-host, and our special guest, again, a great man named Mr. Glenn Sutphin, a member of the press, a former U.S. Army soldier, and with his great insight, with all these once classified, now declassified documents in which we will be digging through again. Now, first of all, before I give it over to those two gentlemen, I cannot go on with this show without calling out or without naming. Let's see. Most of you who follow our work or follow some of the same work that similar people put out, there's this young lady from Canada that's about 18 years old, goes by the name Evalion, or I can't really pronounce her name because, tell you the truth, I haven't been following her that long. I've picked up a few footnotes and seen a few videos of her here and there. I thought she had some great material. She's a very smart girl for being 18 years old, with her insight of worldwide jewelry and National Socialism, and a lot of stuff that normal sheeple and millennials would consider racist. Let's just take a minute to acknowledge what she's been through. Now, an 18-year-old girl coming back from Germany, in which her boyfriend lives in Germany. Yes, her being knowledgeable about worldwide jewelry, and her being knowledgeable about socialism and all other aspects that you can relate to Nazism. Why wouldn't she have a German boyfriend? She's a nice Aryan girl. She's white, and she wants to stay white, like the rest of us, who can see through all of this diversity, all this affirmative action, all this equal opportunity employment. You can see that those are all buzzwords for white genocide, and her at a young age recognizes that. Upon returning from Germany, her boyfriend had to be deported back to Germany after they were picked up by Canadian border authorities because she was on a list. She was deemed a threat. Please, people, take a minute to understand. An 18-year-old girl with nothing but pro-Aryan novels and books and other research material, and her diary, like I mentioned before. She had her diary confiscated from her, along with her computer. Had 3 grown border patrols going through her diary as if she's writing a manifesto on how to chemically and biologically attack the whole North American continent. Come on now. What can an 18-year-old girl be deemed such a threat for border security to hold her for 8 hours and have her boyfriend deported back to Germany, never being allowed to visit North America without a damn good reason again? Now, I've just been privy to this knowledge. I don't know all the complete details, but I do know this is a very serious matter because people like us are under attack, whether anybody sees it or not. They call us hate groups. They call us a good God. I could sit here all day and name the kind of foul words they get put before us. But tonight on Renegade Broadcasting, at RenegadeBroadcasting.com, Miss Sinead, one of the network hosts, will be interviewing her tonight. Miss Evalian will be interviewed on Firestarter Radio at the Renegade Broadcasting Network. So you may hear her full story, which like I said, I'm still new to. And I just had to throw this out there because it outraged me to know that they're not going after these skinheads with swastika tattoos. They're not going after these big, strong, evil-looking Nazis. Not that they should, but they are so desperate to shut our cause down and to silence us that they got to go as far as to go after an 18-year-old girl. Now, I don't know if that outrages anybody like it does me, but quite frankly, I've been ranting enough right now. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and give it over to Russell because I don't have complete details about all this because, like I said, I'm still so new to this, and by God, it shouldn't stand. This has gone too far. I'm getting lost of words here trying to explain it to people. So let's move on to other matters. Russell, what have you got to bring to the table today?
I have a lot to bring to the table. Let me begin by saying, before I introduce our famous guest, that I didn't want to do today's show. However, certain things prompted me. One is watching a show on Netflix called Black Mirror, which shows the future of America, Great Britain, Germany, Canada, and France, and Italy. It depicts it perfectly. People walk around, adults, not kids, pointing their cell phones at other people to see a face recognition to see if they're rated over a 3.1. If they're not rated over a 3.1, they won't talk to them. That is, chat to them on the fucking smartphone. The second reason is I switched to the TV to check up on the Chicago Cubs to see how they won the game with Anthony Rizzo, who did anything, which he did. And what comes up? An advertisement by that piece of shit, that black son of a bitch. Yeah, I'm going to say black son of a bitch, and those of you who know me know I'm not a racist. I like black people. In fact, I'm part Sicilian, and I'm a soul man, and I know I must have some black blood. So this is nothing against the black people. That Oprah Winfrey is a cunt. She was advocating Hillary Clinton will be the best president we ever had. That did it. That just got me nuts. And before I introduce my guests, let me say one thing. Those of you who are haters out there, like that piece of shit Jon Snow, not the Jon Snow, the character, but the Jon Snow who has a YouTube channel, a fucking hater, an uninformed, ignorant piece of shit who calls us anti-Semitic. How the fuck could we be anti-Semitic when the Jews are not Semitic? They're a Turco-Finnish Mongoloid race from the steppes of Eastern Europe who converted to Talmudism, which was Phariseeism, which was before that Toryahwaism, and which became in the 17th century Judaism because the Jews lived on Judenstrasse Street in ghettos where they fucking belong. There are people that should dwell alone in Eastern Europe. They're fucking masqueraders, and that's why they demonize the Arabs. Now listen, I don't have any love for Judaism or satanic Christianity, which is Pauline, or Judeo-Christianity, or for Islam for that matter, because Islam was founded by another fake. It was founded by Jews who got Mohammed as a front man to start another religion and call the god Allah, which is another name for the moon god Sin, and is one with Jehovah or Yahweh. And now, without further ado, and I'll have more to say later, let me introduce the man who keeps on keeping on in any which way he can, Glenn M. Sufton. Good afternoon, brother.
Thank you for having me back on your show, guys. I really appreciate it, and I love being on the show. Getting back to what you're talking about that show where you use your cell phone and you do face scan, that's part of what's called a Sesame code from China, where they're rating everybody, and if you're talking to the wrong people, your rating goes down, and if you go too low, the government comes in and does all this shit to you because you're an unfit citizen. Fuck all that. I don't know where the fuck all this shit comes from, but they keep pushing this shit out, and people keep eating it up and going, oh, it's so fucking great. Yeah, until you're in the fucking FEMA camp and being beat, raped, and killed, and then, is that so great? And then, oh, we're not going to never happen. They're not coming for the guns. What the fuck is the UN doing now, huh? I mean, you people the people are so fucking stupid anymore. They're getting dumber and dumber by the day. And, you know, what more can you say about it? Their plan is working great, and, you know, I'm trying to figure out a way to put a stop to all this shit. I mean, I've seen it coming in years ago. I told people about this shit. Actually, since '87, I've been telling people about this shit. So, you know, it's been going on that fucking long, and it's getting worse and worse, and people just turn a blind eye and, oh, well, it's pretty good because then I have all my friends. Well, you know, if one of your friends has a bad code, it brings your code down too. So is that so fucking great? I mean, you know, it's beyond kindergarten shit anymore. I mean, they're keeping us all corralled in a pen and telling us what to do, when to poop, when to eat, when to shit, when to fucking die. I mean, I don't need all that. You know, the Creator gave me free will, gave me freedom, and I'm not going to just hand it over to some little motherfucker that can't even wipe their own butt without the help of the government.
Well said.
We're also getting we're getting a weaponized storm here. So if I start breaking up or disappear, we got a pretty bad thunderstorm coming in. So, and it's also fucking with my head. So if I'm kind of off base here today, forgive me.
We're all off base. We're all fed up with what's going on. We don't like what we see. Not only we're mad as hell. Not only we're just angered by all the, yes, I'd call it stupidity. I would call it whatever words I choose to use to describe it. It is all unacceptable. The richest, or the so-called richest country in the world, the so-called freest country in the world, has some of the poorest people and has the largest prison population on the fucking planet. Now, you call that freedom? Now, I mean, come on now. Our prison systems are profiting hubs, and most of them are privatized. And even the ones that are owned by the state and owned by the government, our state and government, you can also say, are privatized. And yes, they reap a lot of profit because America is a corporation. It is not a country anymore. A corporation, which means it is owned, not by the people, but a private few. And that's what the world is coming to. The world, arguably, you can say, is owned by just a few. They don't consider us people. Yes, they consider us cattle, but they also consider us sheep. And most of the time, they consider us dead. Like we are non-living entities. That's what we are. We're just dead people on a piece of paper. And if you don't believe that, let's say when you get called to court, what do you call it? A summons. A court-ordered summons. And what do? When you bring the dead back to life, you summon them. Therefore, you get a court-ordered summons to be summoned from the dead. And then you're considered a living person, so you can go to court, and they may extort you even more. So, I'm not proud to be an American. I'm not. I don't care about saving this country. I don't care about restoring it back to what people thought it was or think it should be. I am only interested in separating. As a male, as a 25, soon to be 26-year-old male, I have more than enough right to want to separate from this cultural Marxism and not be a part of it anymore. I don't need the government to tell me that you have not the right to separate. You have to be forced to live with the Negroes, the Spics, and the Jews, and the Catholics. Now, I don't hate these people. I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to lay a hand on them. I want to live with European Americans and European people the way I was meant to, because they have us so brainwashed into thinking that any kind of thinking outside of what they give you is deemed racist, unorthodox, and hate speech. They've turned the meaning of our words into what they deem is the meaning of them and rigged the whole system in their favor. If you don't believe Jews control the world, if you don't believe they control our country, why do they make hate laws in other countries? And trust me, I can assure you they will probably be coming to this country too with their hate laws. But in Germany and in Canada and a couple of other European countries, it is against the law to talk about the Holocaust, to say that it didn't happen the way that we're told it happened. And it is illegal to spread the truth about the way the Jews really operate. And you tell me that Jews don't control every aspect of our life. When that young lady, Miss Evalian, and please forgive me if I'm not pronouncing her name right, that doesn't matter. I'm sure most of you that know her know who I am talking about. Why would Border Security in Canada go through that much trouble to confiscate that young lady's diary and to read through it? 3 grown men reading an 18-year-old's diary, looking for hate propaganda, looking for something to arrest her on. By God, they held this girl for 8 hours, contacted a couple of different agencies, from what I heard, trying to figure out how can we lawfully place her under arrest and charge her with distributing hate propaganda. Now, when you have to hold a girl for 8 hours and figure out how the fuck am I going to charge her with something, there's something wrong there. These people are not doing their jobs. These law officers, these clowns in costumes, they're not here to serve and protect us. I don't feel protected by them. Not only I can't stand the sight of them, but I am scared of them. I am terrified of them. Just like fear and hate, we've been taught not to have those, not to embrace such qualities. Well, I'm here to tell you, hate, you shouldn't hate. Okay, you shouldn't hate. I hate child molesters. I hate murderers, and I hate rapists. What? Am I supposed to be positive and say, love your enemies like Jesus said, and he will take care of the rest for you? And folks,
he never said that.
Yeah. Thank you, Russell. Jesus never said
and
that.
I'll add, the only cheek I'll turn is when I switch to southpaw when I'm in a street fight. Then I'll turn the other cheek. And I'll hit the motherfucker 12 times before he can put his hands up, because that's how fast I am.
Thank you, Russell.
You're welcome, my brother.
Jesus didn't say that. The Jews said Jesus said that. And yes,
thank you.
As long as this show is airing, and as long as I'm able to operate and get this message out, I will name the Jew. I will name the Jew 100. I will name him 1,000. I will even name him 100,000 times, because he is our foremost problem. And we're well within the law right now as I'm saying this. This is what we have is a foreign entity operating in our government.
Dave, apologies, but I must interject for a moment. You said something so perfect and so apropos. You said foremost problem. Well, folks, I doubt many of you know this, but if you bought a Model T Ford in 1906, you got free Henry Ford. Yeah, Henry Ford's 4-book tome entitled The International Jew, the World's Foremost Problem. And he goes on to say in his preface, you say potato, I say potato, in his opening book that the Jews, unfortunately, those who don't speak out, whether they go along with the Zionist agenda or not, he blames them too, because if you don't speak about it, you're fucking part of it. Wake up, you motherfuckers. Wake up, and you know what? Don't excuse my language. If I offended you, I don't apologize, because offending you is a thing of no interest. I'm here to offend you, because maybe then you'll wake the fuck up and smell the gefilte fish. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. Yes. We're fighting a war right now. And a lot of people, they can't accept that, and they can't see it. Our government, not our government anymore, which is a foreign entity, a foreign corporation run by Jews, and yes, whether anybody likes Adolf Hitler or not, see, I'm not a Hitler worshiper, okay? But, like Hitler or not, he was right about a lot of things. And maybe there's a reason why he's the most demonized man in the world. Every leader in this country has a problem with, like, such as Saddam Hussein, or the Iranian president, Ahmadinejad. Oh, he's the next Hitler. Oh, God save us from another Hitler. Now, I will say it again. I'm not a Hitler worshiper. I'm still up in the air about Adolf Hitler and about what he really stood for, and about whether he was controlled by the Jews or not. Because trust me, they have their greedy little hands over everything. A lot of your neo-Nazi groups and a lot of your Ku Klux Klan groups were put out there by Jews to demonize anybody who tries to relay this message that I'm relaying, because they don't want you to know, the Jews don't want you to know that there are normal white people that are intelligent, that are knowing, and that are awake, and that can see that our people are being genocided. And if you don't believe that, look at all the anti-white propaganda on television. White privilege, give me a goddamn break. White privilege. Oh, okay. So we're privileged to be able to see mixed racing commercials acting like, oh, this is going to be the wave of the future. The white race must be bred out because we must stomp out hate.
Let me add, to you black people out there, not all of you, but you dumbed down ones. You like Oprah? Oprah supports the very Jews who ran the entire African slave trade and enslaved you folks. Took your forefathers and foremothers away from their children 400 years ago. And if you doubt me, go to YouTube and put in Walter White Jr., who was a black man, very articulate or more so than any of us speaking now. See his video on the absolute, concrete, undisputable, unadulterated proof that the Jews ran the entire African slave trade, because the Jews control the Brits. And Brit means, if you knew your fucking entomology, but you don't, because all you know is the memorization of bullshit, because you're a pseudo-intellectual, the bullshit that you learned, or I should say lies that you learned in grammar school, high high school and in college. Oprah Winfrey is a piece of shit and an ugly fat one at that. And she should be kicked in her fucking ass down the stairs by black people for taking advantage of them. She's sitting there making millions or whatever she's making, and you black folks are toiling and slaving for not the white man, but for the Jew who masquerades as a white man. The Jew is a monster. If you read any of their works, you would know that they consider you Goyim, which does not mean non-Jews. If you read the Babylonian Talmud, or you read the Encyclopedia Judaica, in which they frankly admit that they are not Semitic. Any Encyclopedia Judaica written before 1932, you would find out everything that I speak is unadulterated fucking truth, because I tell it like it is. Oh yeah, I'm the fucking man, and many of you know it, and many of you are my kin. I love you. Those of you who follow me and followed me for the last almost 4.5 years on the various channels that I did Blog Talk and Internet Radio on, or on YouTube, or on Pinterest, or on my numerous Facebook pages, you would know I tell it like it is, no holds bars, and I do not care who I offend. But to those of you who follow me, I say unto you, you are the lights at the end of a very dark and dangerous tunnel, the bringers of a new dawn. You are my kin, and I love you all. To the rest of you, I don't have a dislike for you. I don't have an antipathy for you. I hate you. And if I could, I would throw you in the East River, about 5 blocks from where I was born in East Harlem, New York, and I would do it in a hurricane so you could swim with the fucking fishes where you fucking belong.
Well, Russell, let's give Glenn a chance to talk. I'm sorry, yeah. Glenn, I see you were about to beat me to it.
Yeah, isn't there a black ruling class called the Boule? I mean, you know, they're like black Jews, basically. I believe that they control the black race, if you want, the black tribe. I'm going to stop using their damn terminology because it's stupid, but they separate and destroy, divide and conquer us. That's how they do this shit. They come in and they get the tribes fighting against each other, because if all the tribes stood together, they wouldn't have a fucking chance. They would be gone in a minute. But they keep us all in. You got to have the whites fighting the blacks. You got to have the Christians fighting the non-Christians. You got to have all this shit stirred up so that nobody sees what's going on. And those of us that are standing there and step back and go, wait a minute, let's take a look at this, we see it's all fucking scam. And then when you try to tell people, they're so fucking blinded by this bullshit and indoctrination through the school systems that they don't see it, because they don't know how to see it. They're basically blind. And we have one eye open and we're looking around, and they got their eyes closed, wandering around, listening to what everybody's telling them. And that's where they get their control. And it works great. With the propaganda, with the psyops, with the bullshit they put out, with the indoctrination of the schools, with the programming from the television. It is conquering the human domain, is what they said in Jade Helm. Mastering the human domain. That's what they want. They want war everywhere to keep everybody off balance, keep all the nations, and when we get even bigger, out of tribes, you get nations. All the nations fighting one another because of stupid shit. We can't like the Russians because, oh, my God, they're the bad guys. Well, you know what? So are we. I don't see Russia all over the fucking planet with bases. I see the United States all over the fucking planet with bases. And we go, Russia's the problem? How? I mean, I fear China more than Russia, but I do fear Russia because they got nukes, and they will use them. And they're not fucking saber-rattling this time. I mean, it's going to happen soon, and they've already said if Hillary gets in, they're just going to fucking launch the strike, nuclear strike, and America will absorb the first fucking strike. Sorry, people. We will be fucking hit. We will be nuked, And then all you motherfuckers that were wandering around going, it can't happen, I'm going to kill every one of you when that happens. If I live. Because Richmond is one of the fucking targets. It is a front line. I keep telling people that. Look at all the military bases around here, all the technology, all the bullshit they've got here. This is the front line, and I'm living on it. I mean, I live in it daily. I go down to the Trump rally, and I got to put up with martial law. I walk out my front door, there's a police officer sitting there watching my ass. So, am I free? No, I'm in fucking prison. I'm on the reservation. I see this shit. I tell people, yeah, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Yes, but I'm fucking correct. You know?
You're not a conspiracy theorist. You're a revisionist historian like myself and a conspiracy realist. And you made a very...
I got a doctorate in conspiracy theory. Sorry.
That's quite all right.
I use their words. The way you take power from them is you don't be afraid of their fucking words. All these people afraid of fucking words. I mean, my God.
And I want to add something to what you said about sticking together. Most of you folks out there don't know what I'm going to tell you because I don't talk about it too often. But if you read Holy Blood, Holy Grail, and you studied revisionist history, that you would find that the tribe of Benjamin was not, and I emphasize, was not a tribe of Israel. They were Gnostics. But in 1100 BC, the tribes of Israel got together and attacked them. They put up a hell of a fight, but were defeated. So what did they do? They went to a place called Troy, and they founded Troy, and then they were attacked again. They had to leave Troy, and they went to France, and they started the Gnostic movement, or I should say revitalized the old ancient Gnostic movement, which is older than any religion, in New Troy, France. And what killed off in the 11th century by the Knights Templar, who didn't want to do it under orders from the Pope. It might have been Leo, but I'm not going to swear to that because I really can't remember at this point. That's it. I have nothing else to say. Go ahead, Glenn.
No, and they also killed the Carthers too. Anybody that had.
Yes.
Okay, the Carthers. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I mean they just wiped anybody with knowledge. They wipe out. Why? Because knowledge. Who was it? G.I. Joe. Knowing is half the battle. Using that knowledge is the other fucking half of that term. You know, if you don't use the knowledge, it goes away. It disappears, and then you get rule and control. Because you got blind masses being led by idiots, and they're trying to push all this shit now. Oh, Hillary's going to be the best president. No, Hillary will be the last president if she gets in, because there won't be any more presidency. There won't be a United States. We are no longer the fucking United States since her husband in '93 signed into the North American Union by NAFTA. So when people fucking start realizing this shit, that it was not a conspiracy theory like everybody says, it actually fucking happened. But people like me tell you, and you go, oh, you conspiracy theorists. Yes, I am. I use that term. I take their power from them by using their words. And they go, you're stupid. I said, no, you're the one who's stupid by labeling me. Every time they label me, I claim their label, they got to go back and relabel me because it's like, well, wait a minute. We called him a racist, and he says he is. Fuck. Well, we'll just keep throwing shit. It's like a little kid throwing a temper tantrum. Yeah, well, you're a tootie head. Well, you're a shithead. Well, you're a stupid person. Well, you know what? Maybe I am, because I'm listening to your dumb ass. Yes, I am stupid because you're making me stupid by having to listen to your stupidity. And everybody goes, what's the one thing on the planet you would get rid of? I always say stupidity or ignorance, because if you get rid of those two, the world would be a hell of a lot better place because it wouldn't be ruled by all this crap.
That's right, Glenn. That's absolutely right. I mean, like I've heard Russell say this before, that we shouldn't call it common sense because sense is not common anymore. Yes, planet, this country, and these great United States are full of stupidity. It's an epidemic. It is a sickness that is running rampant. And not only I blame the people themselves, but I blame even more the conditions that the hidden hand or the shadow government have created to bring us this way. It's a little bit of both. See, I'm beginning to get unsympathetic to those who won't wake up, because we have been duped, me and Russell and Glenn. I've been duped so many times thinking I was following the wrong path. And you have to be. You have to be duped so many times in order to finally get to the truth. That's how they make it. See, most people, they're not willing to take these first steps because there's so much disinformation out there. There's so much propaganda that people are so overwhelmed. They don't know what to believe anymore, so they just assume not have an opinion at all and just go along with the way things are. And yes, that's when they have you right where they want you, because they don't want you thinking for yourself. They don't want you to have a strong, educated opinion to which you can back up with facts. You know, there's an old song by Aaron Tippin. You got to stand for something and you'll fall for anything. And people are falling for anything these days. They will sit back and they will be fed the same news. Let's just see that story I was thinking of. You know, since we're talking about Russia and since we're talking about another Cold War, I was shocked upon hearing on the news that the news is actually admitting that they don't know if they will be able to trust the results of the election because there's so much talk about it possibly being rigged, which us three know is very true. They have always been rigged, but they're going to apparently send Russian advisors to oversee our election, so it won't be so the results will be trusted more. Now think about this: we're at war supposedly. We're starting a second Cold War with Russia. They can wipe us out, or we can wipe them out on a nuclear war, and they tell us that they've hacked into our systems. But never mind the Cold War, never mind the hacking into our systems. We're gonna be friends enough with them to let them oversee our election again. The same people we're supposed to be at war with are overseeing our election. This is a fucking joke. That goes to show you. Excuse me. Not only the news is completely dishonest and inaccurate, but they contradict themselves. It's not easy to, it's not hard, it is not hard to see for yourself that the news is full of a bunch of lying degenerates because they just completely contradicted themselves. Again, the Russians, they say, have hacked into our computer systems and that they got nuclear weapons pointing at us. But never mind any of that for right now. We're going to set that aside so they can monitor our elections that are already rigged in the first place. That right there is enough to let people know that you can't trust these Jews. And yes, I will keep calling them Jews. I will name the Jews until they shoot me dead, because they are the world's foremost problems. Now, they view white people. They view the white man, the Aryan, as they collectively like to blame him for everything. Slavery, which was run by the Jews. Racism, which is what they invented. Diversity, which is what they invented and put on us. And yes, I know of some good Jews, and I'm not blaming all the ones that blindly follow their religion and have no idea what's going on. But they collectively blame us for that. So it's just to the point now. Yeah, go ahead, Russell.
No, I only have one quick thing to say. Please tell me where you think those good Jews may be, because I got my magnifying glass and my binoculars. That's all.
Correct, Russell. I didn't want to have to say that, but by God, it's getting that way for me now. Because
I know, and I can hear it in your voice. I love it, brother. You sound fucking great.
They collectively blame us for atrocities we never committed. They advocate that we pay reparations for a slave trade that we never owned or were never a part of, because only 1% to 2% of Americans in those days actually owned slaves, and they were mostly the rich plantation owners. A lot of them were Jewish and Catholic. And if you listen to this show before, you'll know that Catholicism and Christianity is nothing but a Judaicized idea. Yes, I'm sorry to say, folks, but I had to swallow that giant red pill and accept that Christianity and Catholicism, which is what I was raised on, and I was a very devout Catholic, I have to come to the conclusion that it is a form of control. It is a weaponized mechanism in which is meant to enslave us. And give everything to God. Don't take action, just pray. Well, heaven ain't never helped a man that didn't act. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Heaven expects you to take up action with your prayer, because God doesn't do everything for you, or Yahweh, or Jehovah, as we should put it. Now, thoughts on this?
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Jehovah, or Yahweh, should be pissed on. He's an archon, and these Jews are afflicted with an archonic virus,
That's
a disease. And that's where it's at. John Lash puts it correctly whenever he does a show, and also in his best-selling book, Not in His Image. John Lash tells it like it is. He's a man who commands my respect, and not many command my respect. I follow no one, but I do respect my co-host tremendously, and our special guest, Glenn, and Chris Dorsey, and several others who tell it like it is with no holds bars, and who don't fear the Jews, who don't fear being killed by the Jews. And to those of you who fear death, I say unto you, don't sweat it. You got nothing to worry about. You're dead already. In fact, you might as well make some money. Call AMC's TV series, The Walking Dead, and get a job as a fucking walker. You'll do very well.
Yeah. Amen on that. Amen on that. No, it's ridiculous what is going on, and that we let it happen. I mean, everybody goes, well, there's enough blame to go around. Everybody is fucking guilty of this. I'm guilty of it because I've let stuff go. I've gate-kept and not put shit out that I should have. So I'm guilty of it too, because I'm human. And dying's the easy fucking part. Coming back is hard as shit. Trust me on that. They can kill. The least they can do is kill you. That's the least they will do to you, is kill you. Okay? And if you get that through your head, the least they can do is kill you, you won't have fear, because you know that death will be there. Okay? Well, anything after that, what's worse than death? I mean, nothing. So the worst they can do is death. Okay? That's also the least they will do to you, because once they kill you, like you said, you're dead. You're not here. It's like these fucking stupid-ass suicide bombers that go, oh, I'm going to go blow myself up. Wrong answer, motherfucker. Those that are left are the ones that win, not the ones that kill themselves. And you're not going to get a 72-year-old virgin, and who would want a 72-year-old virgin anyway? I mean, my God, you know?
Glenn, I think what you meant to say is, who would want 72 virgins, not a 72-year-old virgin, but still, you still hit the nail on the head. You want
I love corrupting their shit.
72 virgins.
Hey, they upped it. It's 72 virgins, and then you get all their 70 handmaidens, and you get 70 years with each one. It's like, no, sorry. I don't want to have to train all these fucking virgins in the afterlife. But give me a couple whores and some weed and leave me the fuck alone, and that'll be great for paradise. I mean, fuck. But see, that's just them trying to make up. They keep making this shit up, and it keeps coming out. to get more and more people into their stupidity to keep them under control, because people are starting to see, well, wait a minute, this is kind of stupid. Well, you get more and more shit. You get more and more shit, like an Oprah show. We'll give you all this shit for free. Look, the audience gets this shit for free. You know, I hated Oprah Winfrey when she was on Baltimore TV back in the 70s when I was watching that bitch. She was on, WJZ TV, I believe it was. And she was the anchor, and I couldn't stand her then. So, I mean, I've known about her forever. And it's just like, you know, it's just mind-boggling what's going on, and these people are supposedly leading. And then getting to another thing, all these people that are starting these revolutions. I've never seen such short-lived revolutions in my goddamn life. Everybody that starts a revolution gets killed immediately. What kind of fucking revolution is that? You know, they go, oh, we're going to start a revolution. We're going to go kill the cops. Bang, you dead. What kind of revolution is that? That's nothing. That's bullshit. And, you know, the ones that keep hitting and doing things that never get caught, that's a fucking revolution. Not this, I'm a revolution. Bang, oh, you dead. So, you know, it doesn't, I can't understand the mindset. You know, the last man standing is the one that wins, not the ones that kill themselves. You just become martyrs and become fodder for their fucking bullshit. And, yeah, that's where I'm going to leave that one at.
You still with us, Russell?
Oh, yeah. I'm just listening to every word that Glenn said because I like it. I like to hear real people, not plastic, as we would say in the 60s and early 70s, sheeple talk. That's why I can't watch Talmud Vision, which the morons call television, that only programs it. That's why they call a television channel or a show a program, because you're being programmed. You know, Jordan Maxwell once told me, just watch the old Get Smart show about chaos and control, where the old cliche was, get smart, stupid. That's the problem. The people have no knowledge, and when they get knowledge, they still don't have power because they don't apply knowledge, because the application of knowledge is true power. One has to know it first in order to apply it. And to know it, one has to deprogram themselves. And how you do that is you baptize yourself. Not with holy water, because that's unholy. You don't know where the pastor had his hands before he put his hands in the water. You do it by washing out with a symbolic cleansing of all the hogwash, all the lies, all the dogma, all the fucking propaganda that you've been led to believe, falsely led to believe by your misleaders in politics, in Redeemer religion, and by the mongrel dogs who jail your children 6 hours a day while pretending to teach them, and I accentuate the word pretend, as they did you when you were a kid, as they did to your parents. Once you wash out, you call upon your higher self in the name of Jesus or whatever you feel, for your higher self to activate you, and then you will be able to apply the knowledge. And who you really pray for is the Holy Spirit, or Pistis Sophia, Mother Earth, or the great goddess of wisdom, who is one with the Christos, the Father of Jesus. It's that simple, but you're afraid to do it because you're afraid of going to hell. Oh me, oh my, you dumbed-down motherfuckers. Why don't you realize once and for all that you're already in hell, or at least purgatory, but even hell has its fucking nice neighborhoods.
Amen.
Thank you.
Yep. Most of you are in a prison right now. You're in the prison of what people think of you. I broke out of that prison a long time ago. What I'm labeled the opinions of my peers and lesser men and women mean absolutely nothing to me. They have no effect on me anymore, because I've got to the point where I know what's going on fully because I see it. This is like, I don't know how you would describe it.
You could see beyond the proverbial veil of ISIS, the veil of illusion, and you could see the truth that lies on the other side.
Once you become Jew-wise, once you become aware that their fingerprints are all over everything, and that everything, including Hollywood, including the news, including government, belongs to them, including the wars, including Congress, the Senate, the House of Representatives. Oh, yeah. Most of them have Jewish backgrounds. President Obama, he's not a Muslim. Come on now. Look.
His mother was a communist Jew, which means he's a communist Jew. Obama is a fag, and he's no leader. He was put there to destroy the United States, to pretend he's a Muslim, say he's a Christian, and confuse the shit out of you. Yet he funds Israel at one point alone, $70 billion of your tax-earned dollars, and you tolerate it. And now you fucking idiots will go out and vote for Hillary, or you'll vote for Donald Trump, whose grandmother was a Jew, great-grandmother, which makes him Jewish. But you folks don't want to accept the fact that you have another choice, and that choice is twofold. You can stay home and watch the bad off-Broadway show, and I've seen many, that's called an election, or you could go out there and boycott the fucking charade.
Yeah. I don't even vote. I have never fucking voted in my life. I don't participate in fraud. I mean, if you vote, you are participating in the fraud. You get what you get, and you can't bitch. People tell me, well, you don't vote, so you don't have any say in this. It's like, okay, well, if you don't play three-card Monte in the park and get fucked over, you got to, because the marks are standing there and they lost all their money and they want to feel great about themselves. So they bring other people in and they keep going and keep going, not knowing that the game is rigged or knowing the game is rigged, and bringing them in anyway because they feel that they have to, because they just have to follow the crowd. And they've got this mentality that, well, I don't want to be different than everybody else. I'm totally different than everybody else, and I'm very proud of being different.
Well,
I could care less about fitting in.
You're 100% correct. And as far as voting goes, I never voted in my life. However, and I must inject a little humor in this because laughter is the best medicine. In 1979, would you believe, and I accentuate would you believe, I was ready to go out and vote for Ronnie Reagan because I liked him as an actor, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, everything went dark, and then a great light came, and out came Zeus, my father, and said, "Son, trust no one." That was it. I didn't go out to vote. I smoked another joint, had another shot of Macallan's 25 year, and I turned on the TV and watched the show.
Well, I just got a news update. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thompson denied groping accusation. What the fuck is all this shit? They're bringing out all this shit about everybody. What they're trying to do with all this shit is actually trying to maintain their control by saying, oh, well, this person did this person did that. You can't trust them. But yet you have criminals that are proven to be criminals, and they go, well, you can trust them. That just shows that the whole damn thing is fucked up. It's all a criminal organization, and it's crime. And if you fucking vote, you are voting for crime. I mean, I can't make it any plainer. look at history. When has voting ever fucking changed any goddamn thing in the agenda? Because we put somebody in there that's, oh, Obama was going to be changed. How do you like the fucking change he brought, people? Look at what he changed. He took everything and fucked it up, and it's going to stay fucked up until somebody changes the fucking agenda. The agenda continues. The face of the agenda changes. They change the puppet every 4 years, so you don't catch on that the agenda is still going on. But yet everybody that gets in continues the same goddamn agenda.
You know, I see stupid people wherever I look. The propaganda and the dogma is everywhere, which you just reminded me of something during the Reagan years. Television and the media actually had people believing that the ugliest, most insidious communist Jew in the world was the world's sexiest man. Yes, the media voted for Henry Kissinger as the best-looking man in the world. I was insulted. I thought I was.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Oh, me, oh, my. Go ahead, Glenn. Sorry.
No, I was just laughing at that, Nate, because, yeah, I mean, well, hell, George Soros looks like Palpatine from Star Wars, so, and it fits, too. I mean, you may as well just say, they destroyed the Republic and they're putting in an empire, and that's what they're doing here. It fits. The analogy fits because America's a fucking empire, and we're imperialists trying to take over and trying to recolonize the planet again in their own image, remaking it, and they made it a slave planet. And the slaves, if the slaves would stand up and fucking revolt, there's more of us than there are of them. We outnumber them 1,000,000 to 1. I mean, there's only about 1,000 people that supposedly rule and own the planet. I don't know where the fuck they got this from, other than they made it up, and everybody goes, "Okay, sounds good." I can't find the words to tell the people, to get through to them, other than just telling them as it is that we are supporting an empire, and the empire must fall.
Yes, we are. God, how do I put this? We are in chains, but we don't see our chains because our bondage is in the form of television. It's in the form of technology. It's in the form of cell phones, and it's in the form of thought.
It's mental slavery, and the greatest prison in the world is the fear of what other people think about what we about what people say about them and about what they say. So they shut their mouth because, in truth, they're nothing more than Paul Power parroting cowards, liars, and fools, or as H.G. Wells would call them, alohi, and as I call them, stupipedes or robo-sapiens. We don't live in America. We don't live in America. We live in a land called Robo-Sapia, a land owned by Jewish pigs, ruled by Chavez Goy-Naves, and filled with slaves who call themselves citizens when the correct definition of a citizen, according to the Constitution, is a pig. Well, they don't say pig, I do, because they are a pig, or I should say a piglet, who works for the federal government. Folks, friends, boys, gals, ladies, gents, whoever the fuck you are, you're not a citizen unless you work for the federal government. Read your fucking Constitution.
Yeah, citizen equals slave. That's all it is. It's slavery with a different name, and they abolished slavery in the 13th Amendment and then reinstated it as citizen in the 14th Amendment. So, I mean, think about that. Everybody is now a citizen. I am not a citizen. I reside in the United States. I reside in the former state Commonwealth called Virginia, but I'm not a citizen. I don't fucking obey their law. I don't follow their rules. I do not comply. I did not give my consent for this shit. I want them to show me all the signatures of everybody that signed and said that they signed on to this and not my fucking birth certificate because I had nothing to do with my goddamn birth. If I did, I wouldn't have been born on this fucking planet. Trust me. But they keep you in a prison of your mind. And the cell phone is aptly named. It is a cell. It holds you captive, and you're walking around with this fucking tracking beaker all on you every time, and they can do anything they want, jack into it, listen to you, spy on you, and then people, oh, that doesn't happen. Bull fucking shit. Okay? There's a big place out in Colorado and Utah that they contain all this information. They got yottabytes and yottabytes and fucking computer centers, huge rooms full of fucking equipment that are monitoring every goddamn thing. I told people about that with Echelon and other Prism, and there's other shit coming out about new stuff that I haven't heard about yet, but I'm finding out about it, and as I find out about it, I put it out there because I'm not afraid of them. Like I said, the least they're going to do is kill me. The worst they're going to do is make my life a living hell, which they've already done. So shit, death would be a reprieve from this fucking hellhole. But since I've already died twice and I keep coming back here, I'll just be back here again and I'll still keep fighting them. So, you know, that people have lost their fighting will is pretty much what it is. They bred the fight out of people so that they are docile slaves that go along with this shit every day. You know, on TV, oh, you got to buy this brand. Everybody runs out to buy this brand. Look at the fucking Pokemon bullshit that happened. And then what happened to it? It disappeared real quick because, you know, but it was used to get information where they can't get into. They're not allowed to come into your house unwarranted, but they can put it on your cell phone and let you scan your rooms and do whatever you want and collect it. Where is that legal? Well, they said it was, and it is. So, and we accept it. I mean, I'm totally against the technocracy, but not against the technology. The technology is wonderful. The technology is neutral. It's how the people use it. I started using it against them. I take their weapons, I take their words, turn them around, and use it against them. That's where you get your power. Take the power from them, take it the fuck back, stand the fuck up, and tell them to fuck the fuck off. And if they don't listen, make them listen.
All right, fellas. We have us a caller. I'm going to bring him on. I'm not so sure who he is, but it's a 408 area code. Hello, 408. What do you have to say?
Hi.
Hello there.
Do you guys like memes?
There's a lot of things we like and don't like. Explain yourself.
Oh, I'm talking about memes. Like memes.
Talking of what?
Zesty memes, funky memes, fresh memes, usually fresh memes, dank memes, especially. What is your viewpoint on memes?
Do any of you guys have any idea what he's talking about? Because he's lost.
This fucking guy is politically correct pig. He's a shill. Get him fucking off the air. He's full of shit. He's talking gibberish. And he's doing it to try and confuse us, and we can't be confused. He's a little motherfucker that should be bitch slapped. Get him off the fucking phone.
And what do memes have? Let me ask you a question. What do fucking memes have to do with anything? Because they're made up. They're little. He's talking about these stupid little things on the internet with these the pictures with these words on them. That's a meme. I mean, come on. That's fucking advertisement. I mean, I use memes to get my message out. You can use memes. What do memes have to do with all this shit? I mean, come on. All right. Anyway, where were we?
Well, like I said, this is called Two Open Minds. Now, we should, as many guesses we're getting, we should call it 3 or 4 open minds. But either way, it is an open discussion show where we don't leave anything off the table. We discuss anything because we're not binded binded by political correctness. We're not binded by so-called hate speech laws. We're not binded by what people deem should be you should be authorized to talk about, because I know I'm going to receive some backlash from people that I personally know, telling me, "Oh, you can't be talking about that. People won't listen to you. Oh, you can't be bringing such things up because you might not get a following." Well, I don't want those followers. If you don't want to listen to us, that's your free will. Please take the escape button and or take the X button and click on it and be gone with us, because you freely can choose not to listen to us. You can go back and listen to your kosher conservatives and your kosher liberals and the rest of your kosher society.
Oh, God, Dave, you're good.
Okay, getting to that, I don't, everybody's, you're not going to get a lot of likes on FedBook. Oh, well, you know what? I don't fucking give a fuck about the goddamn likes on FedBook. If one person sees what I put out there and learns from it and it wakes them up, that's better than 10 billion fucking likes on that fucking piece of shit spy program that everybody is on, that's trying to take over the internet. Which now everybody says the internet and they mean FedBook. And yes, FedBook. You asked me about that the last time. It is a government, federal-run fucking spy program. That's why I call it FedBook. They called it Facebook because they wanted your pictures so that they can monitor your ass. And then they go, hey, we could put out this little program, and they'll eat it up, and they do. And you put all your information out there, and then you're worried about privacy when you put out there what you eat for dinner, when you took a shit. When they got you to monitor your goddamn self, and you don't realize it. And it's brilliant in what they did, but I'm trying to use it to wake people up. I'm taking it back. Take that technology and get back out there with it. And I don't give a fuck about the likes. I don't care. Like I said, if only one person followed me, that'd be great. I'd still do what I'm doing. Now, if nobody followed me and nobody listened, then I stop. But I'm finding more and more people are listening because what I am saying is truth. And people want to hear the truth. They're tired of the fucking lies. And they need their eyes open. And the people that are waking up, I'm there for you. The people that are already awake, you're with me. The people that will never wake up, you're cannon fodder, and you will be wiped out when they do the next war that they're coming up with. So that's where that's at. And screw all the likes. I could care less. I have stood by myself numerous times in groups of people. I mean, I was standing by myself in a group of 40 fucking soldiers coming after me at the Trump rally. Yeah, I stood there by myself and stood my ground. So does that mean that I need all these likes? Nah, fuck that. I don't need them. Now, if those likes came with some fiat currency, maybe I'd start liking likes.
Speaking of likes, Facebook is going to hide the likes. I was getting as many as 1,200 likes on some posts. That's how well known I was, and I was developing a real following exposing the Jews. And how I do it is, you know very well, I do it with lip sync, soulful videos because people are addicted to sex, drugs, and rock and roll. What I do is I entertain them and then deprogram them, just like the television, or I should say the Talmud vision, entertains you and programs you into a mind-controlled slave so you can be a worker bee in the hive of the Jew world order. Oh, yeah, folks, you've been had, taken, hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, mesmerized, star-spanglized, especially star-spanglized, and mind-fucked. And we're here to get you out. And if you can't get out because you're too fucked up, that's your fucking problem. But to those of you who can, we're there to help you in any which way we can. Absolutely. We want to let you know that you have other choices other than that which your misleaders in politics, Redeemer religion, and the public fool system of public, or I should say pubic indoctrination has done to you.
That's right.
We want to shake you, wake you, and break the mental chains that bind you. Because in truth, the slavery that you're in, the bondage that you're in, is mental slavery, which is the worst form of slavery possible.
Yes, I just want to add that the school systems, that includes kindergarten, pre-kindergarten, elementary, junior high, high school, college, graduate school, you name it. They're all institutions of control. And you can bet that they're all run by kosher Jewish conservatives, Jewish liberals, because let's not use those words anymore, conservative or liberal, because they all work for the same tribe. The French Revolution, which was incited by Jews, the Hidden Hand, the Illuminati, Freemasons, they're all Jewish. It's not that hard to understand. But people get caught up in all these other buzzwords. Oh, it's the globalists. It's the Masons. It's this corporation. It's that company. Well, who do they all work for? Who do they all answer to? Oh, that's right. The insidious world Jew. Because our institutions and our schools don't teach they deem is education and what they deemed should be taught to us. And everything that they deemed necessary and everything that they deem should be taught to us, brothers and sisters, it is nothing but a form of totalitarian control over not only you physically, but you mentally. They don't have to control you physically. As long as they control you mentally, they've already got you. Because then you're submissive to anything. Like, for instance, they can get European Americans, or to you dumbed-down people out there, they can get white folks to hate their own selves, like they did me for over the years. Coming out with movies like Roots, 12 Years a Slave, Django Unchained. Every one of those are anti-white hate propaganda. Okay. I've been saying to myself all my life, even when I did suffer from what you would call white guilt, I used to say to myself, I don't see what these blacks are so up in arms about, because they wasn't slaves. I didn't enslave them. Oh, wait a minute. White people had nothing to do with slaves. And if you don't believe me, go back to learn about the Pilgrims and learn about Jamestown. Did they bring any African slaves with them? It was when the Jews were able to set up shop or set up their house and home in which was supposed to be European land. They brought their insidious ways. They brought sodomy, and they brought all sorts of other degeneracy that we see today. Now, the average people are really good people at heart. I believe that. But they've been infected with this kosher virus, this kosher way of thinking, which is which I see is it's didn't take long for it to spread like wildfire. And to tell you the truth, the only reason the Jews probably came here was because they were probably expelled, or they were probably kicked out from the areas and places that they lived in. And yes, we're gonna set the record straight right now. Jews have not been persecuted for thousands of years. This whole thing about Israel, how they needed a place to call their own nation, and they needed a place to go for a safe haven for refuge. Well, that's completely false. They've been expelled out of all these countries for over the years, over a 1,000-year period, because of their insidious ways and their degeneracies that they've practiced. Every time you allow the Jews into a society, they corrupt them with immorality, such as pornography, such as marriages not lasting, breaking up the family system, introducing sodomy. That's all a Jewish idea. MTV, reality shows, pornography. I'll probably name that. Anything that is considered sodomizing and that is considered degeneracy is all originated from the insidious Jews. And okay, Christopher Columbus, which wasn't his real name, Jewish. And don't you find that ironic that the same year, 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue? Well, that same year in 1492, Jews just happened to be expelled from Portugal and Spain. But we're taught in our history that he discovered this great land we live on when they've known about it hundreds and hundreds of, maybe even thousands of years before him. You know, we celebrate a holiday because of that degenerate Jew, when really we're not taught that he was part of he was part of the removal of the
and they fucked him too. They put him in prison. They put Christopher Cologne, who was a Jew, in prison after he did their dirty work for them, because that's what the Jews did.
Yep.
That's
Walter
right.
White will tell you that.
And
you know, can I say something? It will take 5 minutes and 18 seconds.
Well, let me take 1 more minute to say.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You want to know? This is just to tell you how much control Jews have these days. Do you remember? Can anybody tell me the last time Jews were expelled from a nation? I can. It was in the 1930s. I'm not sure particularly what year, but it was in the 1930s, and it was out of Germany. And the man that implemented this was Hitler and the German people. And ever since then, we have been subjected to so much propaganda. People could not have gotten movies published or books published without portraying the Nazis in some form of pure evil and as subhumans. So go ahead, Russell. I thought I would point that out there. I mean, I'm just trying to get people an idea.
Before I say what I'm going to say,
and
it'll take about now a little bit longer, but not much longer than 5 minutes and 18 seconds. I'm going to say that they have been kicked out of 109 countries since 250 AD, and now I'll say what I have to say because it is very important, and here we go.
Me, Glenn?
Yeah.
Sorry, he can't hear me. I couldn't hear that. That's just
it was too muffled. Yeah, it was kind of muffled.
It was too muffled. I just had to mute him a minute. I keep telling him that the music on Blog Talk does not come in very well. I mean, I'd love to play it, but by God, I can't hear it. It just sounded like a bunch of static. He's still playing it too. But anyway, we're gonna go on, and let's see how much more time we got left. We got about 40 minutes left. That's probably more than enough time to get our point across. We'll never ever discuss everything. We will have all the answers. We will never ever claim to know it all. But according to those,
Yeah, you're breaking up, mate.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. Let me check. Yes. And you don't even have shoestrings.
Yeah, you're totally degrading now.
Yeah.
Oh, I just had to let you know we could not hear that at all. We heard music, but we couldn't understand any words. We just sounded very muffled. So
in other words, call out the instigator, because the revolution's here.
All right. And then, and yes, that's a very good song. But like I said, we couldn't hear it. And I'm
Dave, you're breaking up real bad.
They can see it by going to number 2openminds.com, clicking on my Facebook page, and while they're there, they can make a donation through PayPal, be it $50, $10, or $1,000, so we could stay afloat and get out the message that it's wake-up time because a great storm is coming, and with it will bring death or enslavement on mighty wind. It's time to join the Phoenix Revolution, the revolution, the Glenn M. Supton Revolution, the Dave Daughtry Revolution, the Chris Dorsey Revolution. It's time to make the Zionist Anglo-American Empire tremble, crumble, and fall.
Amen. Amen. It's about time it needs to fall. Did you get a chance to read the article that I put out this morning, Russell?
No, I had a very bad morning. Trust me.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was working too. Yeah.
But I keep, like you and David, I keep on keeping on. I keep on pushing.
Is Dave still on, or is he? I don't hear him.
What's that?
I said, is Dave still on? I don't hear him.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Glenn, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, that's good. We're all still connected. We have 35 minutes left, which is probably still a good amount of time, and we're just going to keep going on. I mean, this show is scripted to a certain point, but we freely just speak our mind. I'm not reading from any pre-written script. I'm not reciting the same regurgitated nonsense like these talking news heads like to engage in. Well, I would like to bring up in the 34 minutes we have left what these articles that Glenn had sent me, and I read from a few of them, but I didn't get a chance to read all of them because life gets in the way of there's so much information to take in. So Glenn, why don't you tell us about some of this you came across?
Yeah, the stuff that I came across. Well, I kind of released it last week on your show about what I was putting out, and I broke my gag order on Hidden Valley Condos, and Andy Ostrowski, a corrupt politician lawyer that was there to supposedly help this community get this condominium that needs to be condemned and destroyed shut down. Instead, all the motherfucker did was come into the group, disrupt the group, bring in infiltrators, tell everybody he is a lawyer, but he has been disbarred. So he is not allowed to practice law, but he still practices law. People have taken him to court. Mark Robbins, which is a lot of the stuff I sent you, who has all the court documents. He's put out all the information. I am trying to get an interview with him about what was going on with Andy Ostrowski. And, this guy is self-proclaimed. He's a crack addict. He does drugs. He treats the volunteers that volunteer to help him worse than the Jews treat people. He belittles women. If they go against him, he calls them cunts, derogatory names, all this shit. And then the volunteers, when he doesn't get his way, he starts extorting the volunteers for money. You come in to help me, and then you got to pay me. Well, that's bullshit, man. And then coming in, he got a lot of information from one of the advocates, which I can name, John Sebastian, and the man was very ill. He made the man travel like an hour and a half to do an interview, and then all Andy Ostrowski did was talk about his fucking self. And it's all promote Andy Ostrowski. He uses movements. He comes into a movement like Hidden Valley, and then he starts promoting himself, going, look at what I did for Hidden Valley. Look at what I did. Look at what I did. The only fucking thing the motherfucker did was shut down the fucking group and steal all the information and evidence that the people had, and then use that evidence to start extorting people. And I let it go on too long, and I am now trying to amend my ways by putting out there the truth about this motherfucker. And he was running for governor or something like that, and he needs to be looked at harder than they're looking at Trump, because this guy is totally a waste of space and a waste of air. And everything that comes out from him starts becoming lies, because he takes what he wants and then puts out there basically propaganda and, oh, look at everything I'm doing. And like I said, I want to see his campaign contributions, because I don't think that he spent them on the campaign. He spent them all on himself, which is illegal. It wasn't to run his campaign. It was to pay his rent, to feed him, to clothe him, which is not what the contributions were for. And I think everybody that voted for him needs to look at this man very hard. He's in Pennsylvania, and he's been disbarred. He's tried to get his license back now for like 7 years. And in the documents I sent you, you can read what the judges say about him. I mean, he files frivolous lawsuits in court, in the wrong courts, in the wrong places, so that they get thrown out, so he can go, look at how corrupt the system is. It didn't help me, and I'm a lawyer. A, you're not a lawyer. You're a defrocked priest of the Temple of Law. You're a disbarred lawyer. You're not a lawyer. And he still uses it, which is illegal. Like I said, he took Mark Robbins to court on a frivolous lawsuit misfiled, and then it got thrown out, and then I'll do it again, and that's all he does. I'll use the law against you, but I don't even think the motherfucker knows how to spell law, really. I mean, he's got a radio show, Twigs Cafe Radio, that he goes on there and slanders people, and he slandered the advocates. He went against the agreement that they had, because the man has no fucking honor. And yeah, I will call him out to his fucking face, because I'm going to be going up to Pennsylvania to get footage of this hellhole that's up there, to show everybody live the mold dripping down the fucking walls of his condo. There's sewage that backed up. Water was coming out worse than Flint, Michigan. And it's mind-boggling that this place is still able to stay there. They are hurting people. People have died in this building, and there were 2 or 3 fires, and they say this doesn't affect the structural integrity of the building. The wall, a 3-story wall, fell completely off the fucking building, and they basically superglued it back up and said it in no way affected the conditions of the building. It didn't affect the integrity of it. It didn't affect anything, and don't worry about it. Life is great. Give us your money. They're still charging people mortgages and all that shit on these condos, and the condos need to be shut the fuck down 17 years ago. The advocate I'm representing and the advocates I'm representing have been fighting this for 17 fucking years. And it doesn't get any airplay. It gets nowhere except for you guys. I thank you so much for putting this out and letting me tell the story about this, because I am the voice of Hidden Valley. I am the only one putting out there the truth. Everybody said, oh, look at what Andy Ostrowski did for Hidden Valley. The only thing the motherfucker did was destroy the movement. That's all he fucking accomplished. He came in as a plant from the judges or whoever is controlling this fucking hellhole, and got what information he could from the people, because they wanted to know what the people had, the advocates and everything, all the evidence. Well, everybody, oh, well, he's a lawyer. He's going to help. He's running for Congress. Yeah, let's get behind him. I was the same. I was on board at first. I rode the Andy train, drank the Andy Kool-Aid at the beginning. But then I started noticing little things going on in the group, like he was putting people into positions in the group, like into admin positions. And he was an admin at one, and then all of a sudden I started getting attacked, because I was the one that was actually footing all this and putting it out in public, and they attacked me. And in frustration and anger, I said a lot of mean things to a lot of people I shouldn't have said, and I left the group. And then John Sebastian came to me and he said, Glenn, I understand what you've gone through, but you're totally wrong, mate. These people need your fucking help. get back in here and fucking help. Don't worry about the shit. And he smacked me in my face a couple times with the reality of, hey, I was there to help the people, not fucking popularity. And, you know, I admit that I for a while that's what I was like, oh, popularity, oh, great likes, yeah, okay. And then it was like, well, wait a minute, that's totally against what I fucking just said earlier in the show. So I started rethinking what I was doing and stepped back, went and found out all this other information that, yes, Andy Ostrowski, you do not fucking have. The people that sent you in do not fucking have it. I have it. And when I stopped releasing it, he goes ballistic. And then when I commented on Mark Robbins' blog about, you know, Andy Ostrowski is part of the story I'm not releasing, he went ballistic. He's like, oh, tell me what you want to know, and I'll tell you, and you can come on my show. Well, Andy Ostrowski, I don't need to be on your pissy little show. I'm obviously on other radio stations. I'm on other radio shows, so I don't need your little fucking slander fucking piece of shit, okay? I don't want to be on your show because if I come on your show, I'm going to tear you a new asshole with all the information I got on you. So, yeah, you definitely won't have me on. You won't face me. You will ignore me like you've been doing. And pathetic this shit happens, and this is all part of Agenda 21. Because when I went to the EPA about this, they ignored me. And Andy Ostrowski was like, oh, I'll take care of the EPA. I'll file claims and all this shit. Nothing happened. Went underground. Went bye-bye. Disappeared. And then about a year ago, yeah, it was exactly a year ago today, because I just saw that on FedBook when I posted my article, that the article I had posted that I didn't say everything in that I wanted to, because I stayed to my gag order then, was a year ago. So, I mean, this place is ridiculous. I sent you a video, Dave. Did you get to see the video of what this place looked like yet?
It looked like a raging shithole.
It is.
Even a fight. Pardon me for saying this, but I wouldn't even permit kosher cunts to take up residence in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's worse than a third world country inside of just this one unit. Can you imagine what all the units look like if that's the condition of one of these units? And there are people and children living in this shit? Yeah, this is, you know, if this place was in Richmond, Virginia, it would not fucking exist because I would have had it tore down already. I already shut down a slumlord and 5 of his fucking properties where I lived, where I was the property manager. I made sure that motherfucker lost everything when he did what he did to me. So, you know, saying that, and I know people around here, I would have had this place shut down the minute I heard about it. It should be shut down. The advocates need, you know, the advocates need to be compensated for 17 years of bullshit. They're not allowed to go to court. Well, they are allowed to go to court, but they're not allowed to say anything in the court, even though they supposedly own the condo. They're not allowed to say anything about it. They're not allowed to talk about it because the court system is so fucking corrupt. And then Andy Ostrowski, he has a thing called justice served, okay, which is brilliant because most of the fucking corruption up in Pennsylvania is him. And he's going to change the corruption? Yeah, he's going to get in and create more of it. That's how he's going to change it, because he's not going to fix the system. He never was there to fix it. He was there to make a name for himself and promote himself. And, hey, more power to you. But guess what? The truth comes out, mate. And here I am putting it out. And I tell everybody listening, go look at my video. Go look at the article I just put out, because there's more coming out about this. I will get an interview with Mark Robbins about it. And I'm going to start releasing, like I said, more evidence that I've got, but not in that group, because there are still people in that group that he controls and that report back to him. I am surprised I haven't heard from him yet, because, I mean, I was on your radio show a week ago. I put the article out this morning. I've put the video of the radio show out last week. Haven't heard a peep from him. I don't feel, I guarantee you I won't for a while until it really gets to him. And then it's going to be, oh, I'm going to sue you. Please do. take me to court, motherfucker, because I will countersue your ass. I will get a fucking subpoena for all the fucking affidavits and videos that you stole. I will get my information. There is a thing called freedom of the fucking press, and when you go against it, it will come down on your ass, and I will be coming down on your ass, mate. And I'm speaking directly to Andy Ostrowski here. You're a piece of fucking shit. You didn't help Chris Dorsey when I asked for the help when he got NDAA'd off the fucking street, and you're so much against the corrupt system. Why didn't you step up and do anything? You fucking hid. You ran the fuck away. You fucking ignored me. You fucking ignored Chris. And then later on, oh, I'm your friend. I want to help. No, you don't. You realized that the story was starting to get big, and you figured, hey, I could get my name in publicity again. Fuck you goddamn criminal. And, yeah, I will say it to your fucking face when I come up there. I don't care about you. I do not fear you. I more fear the fucking cops here pointing a gun at me than I fear your stupid sorry ass taking me to court and getting it thrown out because you filed it in the wrong goddamn court. I mean, any lawyer that files shit in the wrong damn court, what kind of lawyer is that? I mean, this is supposed to be his reputation, and he can't file shit in the right places? Well, maybe if you stop smoking the fucking crack and fucking your crack whore, maybe you might actually become something, mate. But no, Andrew, I do not fear you. I do not care for you anymore. Yes, I supported you, but I withdrew that support. And if you want your little fucking germ of destruction video released from private, give me all my shit. Put me on your radio show if you dare. I dare you. I know you won't, because you're a fucking coward. And everybody that surrounds you and follows you and props you up because you promised them bullshit, hey, you may as well be a fucking Jew. I mean, goddamn, promise everybody shit, and that's what you give them. There's a pile of shit, and then you, oh, look at what I did. You did absolutely fucking nothing. You're not the voice of fucking Hidden Valley. I am. You had nothing to do with it other than destroy it. So you came in, you planted people in there. I have the evidence. I have witnesses that will come forward. So your days are numbered, mate. I am coming for you. And trust me, you don't want me as an enemy. But you made an enemy out of me, so I'm coming after you. And I do thank you, gentlemen, for hearing me out on this.
Well said. I'm sorry. I heard every word you said, but I was distracted because somebody obviously is listening to this show. I wish you guys were here. I could show you an email with the photo of a woman stripped down her panties who just sent me an email. The only thing I could send her back was my video of Let's Get It On.
Amen. Hey, she's good looking and she's willing. Why not?
Oh,
you know?
boy. But they're all full of shit. They all wind up asking you for money. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Trust me, I was in the adult industry for about 10 years. I mean, I was published worldwide. I was I had the front cover of a major publication for 2 years. So, and that was where, basically I had started my press career, I guess you would call it, with that. And then they came into my house illegally because, well, you have an adult website and you have a child, so therefore, ergo, you're a pedophile because somebody made up a false allegation against you that you couldn't defend against. So I had to shut my business down.
You know what? You're so right on. In fact, on that show, it's amazing because if you do anything, the show I talked about, Black Mirror, as you know, if you bunk into somebody with groceries, your rating goes down if you knock down their groceries, even if they ran into you. That's how bad it is. People are conditioned and programmed in modern-day America, i.e., that is Robo-Sapia, to live in fear of losing the approval or approbation of a bunch of shitheads.
Yep, and I don't give a fuck about what people's opinion of me is. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. If you say you don't, you're full of shit. Because if you say you don't have an opinion, you're full of shit. If you don't have an asshole, you're definitely full of fucking shit. So either way, you're full of shit.
I think you, I, and Dave actually don't have opinions anymore. We know. It's not what we think, it's what we know, because we have put in the effort to deprogram ourselves and learn correct knowledge and apply it as we are doing now. We're the winners.
Correct. Yeah. Well, I still have my opinion, but my opinion is based on fact, not on conjecture. I look at things, and there are times where I'll state my opinion, and then I'll go look up stuff and go, holy shit, I was totally fucking wrong. But instead of everybody like everybody else, you go, oh, well, fuck it. I go, oops, I fucked up, people. I screwed the pooch. I fucked up. Sorry, I was wrong. I come out and say,
Glenn,
I was wrong.
Glenn, I just got to ask for a minute. Now, this is something I didn't know about you, but you were in the adult entertainment industry?
Correct.
Oh, I didn't know that. What kind of material did you work on?
Porn. I mean, yeah. I was. I don't want to get into it.
Somewhere.
Yeah. You know what? If you're doing it, and I mean, I did it, and I don't want to get into it because it has been used against me. I've been slandered by it, and they use my reputation in the industry against me, which is totally fucking illegal. And there's no recourse that I can have other than to come out and say it. But yeah, okay. Jugs Magazine. I was published twice in Jugs Magazine. There's an article in Big Butts Magazine in my studio that we were doing a film, and the publisher of Big Butts came in. I did a photo set with her, and she interviewed me, and there's a big write-up in the magazine about me. And then I was the front cover of Mistress Vixen's TVTS review, Transvestite Transsexual Review. So I am not against gay people. I am not against transgenders. I have nothing against them. They're humans. It's when they start coming after me for what I've done. And, like I said, I was published worldwide, okay? A lot of people call that success. I was making money in that industry, starting to make money. I was going to go into it as a career. Well, they ended all that and all my money making and everything, and I said, all right, well, I'm still press, so I may as well just go legit and go as press and put out there the real truth about what's going on in the world. And here we are now. So I don't usually talk about it because people.
I agree with you. Free will. If they want to be gay, that's their prerogative. Just
exactly.
Don't inflict their teachings on me. I started out doing sales seminars, teaching salesmen how to close deals, big tickets on a one-call close, and it led me to this because this is what I'm destined to do. I was born to do this. I am one of the ancient warriors of yore that you read about in mythology, and so are you, and so is Dave, whether you know it or not. That's why we're here. When the earth is ravished and being manipulated by misleaders, when the Jews return to Zion and start all sorts of cacophony and chaos and cause problems throughout the world, people like me, the Phoenix, and you, Glenn, and you, Dave, resurface and do what we're supposed to do to bring back balance back to Mother Earth. Because right now, the scales are tipped in favor of the darkness.
Yep. That's correct. Now, the way I see it.
Excuse me a moment. I got to check something on the stove. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Have had, let's just say, they have used industries sort of like weapons against us. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't condone anybody for making money off of certain industries because I don't condemn. Sorry, I think I probably said condone, but I don't condemn anybody for making a living. But however, at the end of the day, it seems like we cannot We cannot go to sleep. We cannot wake up during the day without having made an impact, without having made these Jews put more shekels into their pockets in any way, shape, or form. We see their fingerprints all over everything. We see how they've taken the family man, they've taken the mother out of the household, they've taken her away from her children, they've taken the father out of his roles. And like Glenn said, they've bred the fight out of us. They've made the man into a demasculated race of Elohis. I could not figure out, growing up as a young boy, seeing how these men have been so feminized and emasculated, and just not have any manliness left in it, not have any values growing up to pass on to theirs, and for their children to pass on to their children, because this has been planned for hundreds of years. This goes back to us not only allowing a foreign occupier come into our country without proper screening, without any accountability. Our ancestors were probably aware of what could happen, but some of them were probably delusional. Oh, it can't happen to us. Or I'll be able to monitor what my children watch on television. I'll be able to monitor what kind of books and what kind of magazines they buy. But I'm sure they didn't anticipate that one day it would be an epidemic. It would be all over the place. They've taught us, they have divided men and women so much, taking them out of their proper roles and turning them against each other. Because, let's face it, men have their roles and women have their roles. Now, I don't believe in a patriarchal view and that there's only certain jobs and requirements they can perform. Because to me, men and women can really be separate and equal. And if that's hard for people to understand, then by God, you don't understand much. Because they've got us thinking it's got to be one way or the other. You know, men have to be dominant and rule over their women, or women have to be feminized and be able to do every single solitary thing a man can do. I'm here to tell you that it's neither one of those. That it's supposed to be a team effort by the role of the man and the role of the woman. That means a man should be able to do his own laundry and make his own sandwiches. A woman should be able to take up certain roles if the man's around to do it. Because I'm sorry, but I can't stand to see this two-way street, or only two-way, of either a patriarchal view of total submission and total domination, or where the woman sort of thinks of themselves as the same way. This is a deliberate perversion of our society, of our values, and of what life should have been. Like I said, it's either been feminized or Judaicized or both.
Oh yeah, they've destroyed the family unit. They've broken up that partnership because they want men against women, just like they want blacks against whites. They want Jews against Gentiles. It's the same thing. It's just on a micro scale, because if they can control you down to the very tiniest part of your life, they can control everything, and they do it. And we let them, and it's so sad. I mean, you know, I've been with my wife now for, I've been married, 22 years, and I've been with her for almost 30. So, but they don't like that because that's power, that's strength. You're supposed to be a partnership, not one person rules, the other person's the slave. It's a equal partnership called marriage. And we've lost that. I mean, because now marriage is disposable, just like a disposable lighter. You get tired of it, you throw it away, you go to the next one. I mean, I've known some people that have been married like 10 times. It's like, holy shit. I got married once. I'll never fucking do it again. I mean, no. Once is enough. But, you keep going, throw it away, go to the next one, throw it away. And that's what they want because that destabilizes society and it breaks down the societal bonds of the family. And that's all part of Agenda 21 is making the government the family and doing away with the family unit where, they've done it more to the black community than the white community because they could get to the black community. In the white community, they're now doing it to us. So it is coming full circle, but the globalists hate the black race or the tribe. I keep saying race. They hate the black tribe more than the white supremacists do. Just look at history. Monsanto was involved in the slave trade way back when, and getting this, blacks brought the first slaves to the United States with the Jews, not the whites. The whites were a very small minority that owned slaves. The rest of them were blacks and other cultures that brought them in. Look at the Muslims. They still have black slaves now. So, where do you go? And then blaming it all on me. Show me where I promoted slavery, and I'll make reparations. Show me where my family was involved in your family's enslavement. Maybe I might consider it. Otherwise, fuck off, because all you want's a freebie, and, that's political correctness. And like I said, I've been politically incorrect before the term existed, so I tell them to fuck off. And, that's where I'll leave that one.
Russ, are you still with us?
Oh, yeah. I'm just
all right,
listening.
Guys. We got 5 minutes left, as usual. I thank both of you for being on. Like I said, we're always learning as we go. We have an obligation here, not only to teach others, but to teach ourselves, to help each other out in this struggle for understanding what really is taking place in the world and what's taking place right in front of our face that we might not even see right away. We have had the fight bred out of us. We have had people, how do I put it? We have had the emotion. We have had the caring. We have had the kinship bred out of us. We're just a bunch of traveling modern-day nomads with no real sense of direction, no real sense of where we're going to go and what lies ahead of us and how we're going to actually come out of this and make the world a better place. All these propaganda commercials, we got to make the world a better place. Well, you're not going to make the world a better place just by repeating the same regurgitated nonsense over and over again and saying you're going to make the world a better place. You must outright engage in it. And by God, this is our way of engaging in it, any way we can. If you're not speaking up, if you're not addressing these problems, then by God, to me, you're part of the problem. There is no way of dancing around it. Yes, you are part of the problem, and you must either stick with us or get out of the way. That's it. And again, I'm about to end this show, and I thank both of you gentlemen for being a part of this this very important subject of subjects.
Ditto. I'm with you both. Folks, I hope you enjoyed the show because let's be honest, it was electric.
All right, now. Well, we'll see you next week. So, everybody, enjoy the day. We'll see you next time on Two Open Minds.